I have made pretty much every single possible mistake you could make in the music industry. And seeing as today is my birthday, I am going to share my story and some of the lessons that I've learned going through this crazy adventure as a music producer. Yo, it's Thomas Anthony from Fancy FOXX Music, you know who it is, and I just thought I'd make this video on my birthday to share some of the lessons that I've learned over the past, 10 years in the music industry, and some of the failures that I've kind of gone through and how I've learned from them, just so you can learn something from it too. Most people are probably still recovering from New Year's Eve, and the beginning of the New Year's takes people some time to get into the New Year, so I didn't really want to hammer people with a ton of content right off the bat. So these last couple of videos have just been super chill. But yeah, today I'm going to share my story and how I came up in the music game and some lessons that I've learned, some things you could take from it that maybe you relate with, maybe you don't, but there's some good nuggets in there, and this is just a more informal style video. So hell yeah, if you're into this, just keep on watching. Now, before we get started, this is going to be some bullshit BuzzFeed video. Be like, what I learned in my 34 years on Earth today was that you just need to spend time with friends. It's like, shut the fuck up. I hate those videos. I think they're stupid. And like, just shut the fuck up. So this is just going to be me sharing some stories of things I've gone through in the past. And hopefully you pick up a lesson or two. So let's start with some history. Lots of people probably don't know much about me. So I have been making music in the music scene for about 10 years. But when I was growing up, my mom put me in piano, and it was okay. Like, I learned a little bit of stuff, but honestly, I stopped playing it when I was like 12, and I forgot everything. Like, you don't remember anything unless you practice. The only things I remembered was that you had to be in key when you made a song, and that you should play all the notes in the same key. That's all I pretty much knew, and that was pretty much the only musical stuff that I followed over into my electronic music kind of music. Electronic music. So yeah, I just kind of did that. And then when I did decide to get into electronic music, I really had no idea what I was doing. I bought Ableton, and I had it in my room, and I bought a keyboard, and I was like, oh, this is sick, I'm a music producer. But it just sat there. I didn't even open the box for like a year. Then finally I just decided to dive into it, and I looked at I looked up some like courses online, and I found a Sonic Academy course. It was a basic Ableton one, and that was really awesome. And I went through it. It was really painstakingly hard because my brain was like, oh, this new information on this crazy stuff. Like, what is a synthesizer? What the fuck is a VST? All this stuff that was really new to me, and I was so confused. But it kind of walked me through the steps. And after, I don't know, like 15 hours or following exact steps, I ended up with a song. And I was like, oh, that was awesome. Like, so cool. I made a song. Like, this is sweet. I'm like, oh, I love this. I want to do this. Like, for sure I want to do this for a while. So I continued making songs. Really, really shitty. Thought my songs were awesome. So good. As I progressed, I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And this one's awesome. But they were really terrible. Like, they were really, really, really bad. But I don't know. I just was having fun doing it, and I thought it was super cool. And there was like no tutorials. One guy making tutorials out at that time, so you couldn't really learn anything. So everything that I kind of learned, I really had to just kind of figure out myself, and that was a very, very slow process. And that's a real big inspiration for me to make these videos and kind of share information with you guys, because it was so fucking hard for me to learn all this stuff. Like, it was so difficult. I just didn't understand like what things were. No one wanted to share their secrets. Everyone was a fucking asshole, and they're like, no, this is my secret, just I compress it, fuck you. So they wouldn't tell me anything. And yeah, so I just kind of did that for like a while. And then I started my first project, and it was the first project with the PEEP and Tom project, where I was just kind of making music and seeing what the fuck happened. I didn't really care about much. I was just kind of putting music out, trying to be badass. I think I had a radio show initially. I definitely had a radio show initially. It was called the PEEP Show. And I was just kind of stay up and put music out there and kind of do things. And that was really cool. And that was like the beginner stages of my music career. And I think it's super important to just kind of not be so tied to your identity at the moment, because things are going to change. You're going to get better, and you're going to want to refine something. Like, if you bought a car, your first car, which was a beater, you wouldn't want to keep that for the rest of your life. You're going to constantly be upgrading and kind of moving along. So that's kind of how I think of it when I talk to students about music production. So basically, had Peep Tom project. That was sweet. Learned a whole bunch of stuff. My music was kind of shitty, but I was learning a bunch of the main things. Then I partnered up with my friend Tyler and as Peep This, and we started just putting. We had an idea in our head of, oh yeah, like let's make a sweet brand. And who do we like? We're like, we like Bombs Away. So we kind of just modeled them because we like partying. We were throwing lots of parties at the time, and that was super duper fun. And all the branding just kind of fell into place. We didn't have to do much because we just kind of just put music out there. We're playing shows and we made Melbourne bounce, and that kind of fit the genre. We didn't really have to think much about it. We just initially thought, fun party, that's what we're gonna do. This was great. This was so good, and we got lots of gigs. We ended up playing Burning Man. We ended up playing at EDC, like a ton of shows, a ton of festivals. Like released music on Dim Mak, released music on Brooklyn Fire and Panda Funk and Interscope, and just a whole shitload of Punks was another one. Just a whole bunch of awesome labels. We went on like a Dim Mak tour, which is super awesome. We were just killing it. Like, dude, had a bunch of #1s in the breaks charts. It was so fun, and that was a really fun project. And at that point, like it fulfilled such an awesome need because I was learning how to make a specific genre and getting good at that genre, but I wasn't really expanding my music skills. Like I was just getting good at one thing. And then we rebranded and we started making kind of like darker, more trappy stuff and like garagey stuff, and that went really well as well. And then this led me to just kind of reflect back on myself and be like, oh, what am I doing? Like, I'm like, I love making music, but I like making bangers and stuff. I only had fun making it for about an hour. And then I'd get really bored or I'd get frustrated. I'm like, oh, I don't care about the song anymore. So I started just messing around and just experimenting with like melodies and really going back to music theory and relearning all that stuff and just kind of like practicing playing melodies and chord progressions and all that stuff. And I noticed the time would just float away. Like it would just be back to, I look at the time, it'd be like 8 o'clock in the morning, and then next time I look, it'd be like 3 in the afternoon. I'm like, whoa, where'd those 7 hours go? And I knew that was super awesome and I was on the right track. And I was like, oh, this is so sweet. I'm like, music means so much to me again. And it feels like just fulfilling, and I'm making something cool that I could like show my parents and not just like some crazy weird like club banger kind of stuff that only people will hear at the club when they're all messed up and then they'll forget about it like a week later. That was a huge thing for me too. I wanted to make something memorable. Like if I'm devoting my whole life to music, I don't want this music to be forgotten like a week later or something like that. Like I just kind of felt that way about things. So I just really just decided to kind of switch directions. And I'm still working on stuff with the Peep This stuff because I love making bangers and stuff like that. I love Tyler, and we play good music together. We play good music together. Yeah, that's right. But I also started this new project, which it just makes me feel so good. Like I truly got into it because I wanted to share. Like I had some emotions inside, and I was really bad at like expressing emotions when I was a kid or growing up, or basically until this amazing relationship that I'm in right now. Sarah, I love you. You bring it out of me. But I had a really shitty time with that. And then after exploring this kind of music, I was like, whoa, like I can express myself way better. And then people would connect with that, and like I could change how they feel about things. And that just made me feel so good. I'm like, hey, this is sick. I'm like, I just definitely want to continue doing this stuff. Like, this is great. So that was kind of like the inspiration behind that project or this project. And yeah, it's just super cool. Like I love that shit. Like it's so cool. And I have a very specific vision for this project. Like I want to have a live show. I have a really, I'm not gonna give it all away right now, but I have a really just like amazing vision for the future of like how I want to present everything and how I want everything to flow together, and like visuals and like the whole experience of a show. So that's really important to me. So I'm really focusing on this project and just kind of making that happen. And that's basically my whole story from start to finish. I really kind of tried to keep it short here because I don't want to make this video like fucking 45 minutes long. But that's basically it. And I'm just truly like obsessed with like shaping people's emotions. Or I know that sounds kind of weird and like kind of crazy, but yeah, if I can like touch someone with something that I wrote and then just make their day a little bit better or help them understand themselves a little bit better, that's super cool. And that's really what I'm all about with this music shit. Like I'd rather connect with like 5 people than have like 500,000 fans who just are like, because we had that with Peep This. We literally had shitloads of fans but they weren't like super die-hard fans that like they were like, yeah, like I'd listen to it, like, oh, we love him, like we go to the show. But I want motherfuckers that are like, man, he pours everything into his music and his presentation and everything that he does. I want to fucking see that motherfucker, and I want to relate with that motherfucker, and I just want to just I'll fucking listen to all his music and whatever. Like that's what I'm going for, is because I want true deep connections with people. Well, I'm really going off of this thing. All right, birthday Tom, what are you doing today? Yeah, what else? Now, some of the lessons that I've learned over the last little bit, and some of the things that really are internalized within me, and they may not internalize with you because you haven't gone through them, but I have been hammered over and over again that these things need to happen. The first one is being a genuine person and just connecting on a genuine level with people. When you are promoting your music, when you are just contacting people, or are you seeing people at festivals, or even trying to even network at shows and stuff like that, coming from a frame where you're not just like, like, what can this person do for me? I want to just get this from this person. This person's important, so I should talk to him. Fuck all that noise. It doesn't work. Like, first of all, it doesn't work. And then second of all, you could actually be friends with that person and just have a genuine connection, and then they'd want to do things for you without you even having to ask. And that's a huge thing that you should focus on when you are like promoting your music, just talking with people, even sharing your music with fans. Like, come from the perspective of like, how could this help them out, or how could you help them out in some way, and then share whatever you have to share. Another thing is learning to do everything yourself for two reasons. The first thing is if you know how to do it, and then when you outsource it to somebody, you can you'll know if they're doing a good job, you'll know if they're charging too much, or you'll just be able to know what the fuck is going on. Second reason doing everything yourself is so hard to rely on anybody. Most people suck at doing everything, and they just can't do anything. Like, you need to baby step them the way through. Like, there's been so many people in the industry that just haven't been able to follow directions of like just simple tasks. You're like, just email me back. Just email me back, and just to get maybe some like artwork or something like that, or some whatever it is. So many people are unreliable. So many people talk smack, and they just want to look cool, and just really just don't mean what they say. So learning to do everything by yourself, it just kind of takes that out of the equation, and it makes you just come from a stronger frame. Another thing, a huge thing, is I don't want to say don't trust anybody in the industry, but I would always take everything with a grain of salt, because I've been told so many times of all these tours I'm going to go on, of all these fucking amazing things going to happen, of all these just bullshit, just horse shit coming out of people's mouths so that they can hear themselves talk. And I've heard this like so many times, especially in the music scene, because you don't know how fucked up someone's going to be, or you don't know if they're just a straight up liar or whatever it is. But the one thing I'd like to share with you is, unless you get in a contract, or unless you are like best friends with this person and you trust them 100%, take everything anyone says with a grain of salt, because they may not even mean to lie to you, but just whatever situation they're in, or if they think, I don't know, whatever it is, but just take everything with a grain of salt. Another thing is training yourself to love the process. This is a huge one. You need to train your motherfucking self to enjoy things. You can't be like, oh, when I get on this label, or when I get this success, or when I release this song, or when I go on tour, because you're building a superhighway, a neural pathway superhighway to when I get. And you're leaving the I'm happy now pathway as a fucking shitty dirt road that no one ever travels on. So every day I like to write down, I'm like, I'm so happy now doing whatever the fuck I'm doing. I know I'll get to this place in the future, but right now I'm so happy. And this is something you need to train in yourself. You can't just be doing it like, if you just think about it like, oh, I'm happy now. Like, you need to train yourself every day to just think like that. And it does become ingrained. And after like a month of doing that every day, you start to just be happy doing the things that you're doing and not worrying about the stuff in the future. You're still like excited for things in the future, but it's not like, when this happens in the future, like, I gotta get through all this stuff now. It's like, just, and I know everybody says that, just follow the process and learn to love the process and all that shit, but It's actually true. Another thing is, and I'm especially knowing this because I've gone through this a million times, and I'm like, I know this is going to be a big one for everybody. They're like, oh, I want all those followers, I want all those fans, I want all those to play at all these shows, like all these other motherfuckers are playing at these festivals, and I want to play at that so bad. You really got to think this is a fucking marathon, not a sprint. Like you just won't be able to play those festivals if you don't have proof that you have value. That you can bring people in and people will actually come to your sets and stuff like that, and just basically need to have like a portfolio. That's why I'm building a portfolio this year, is to present that, because I know like you're just some asshole if you just even if I, with all my old street cred from PEEP This and Tom Collins and all that kind of stuff, I'm still not going to demand that someone puts me on the bill for a festival because I had all this success under another name before, because fuck that. Like it's just not gonna do. Like the new name, you need to build up that new name, and that's the same thing with you. If you're making your artist project or whatever and you just want all these things in the future, just reverse engineer it, look at the stuff that will get you to that place and start building up those assets, and that will get you there faster than being like, I'm gonna try and do this to get there quicker, I'm gonna try and do this to get there quicker, because it just won't work. And finally, one last thing I want to leave you with is some tips things that you just focus on. So the first thing you should focus on, work on your musical abilities. Even if you think you're really good at producing in one genre, try to make a bunch of genres. Try to get better at music. Try to get better at getting faster at music, better at music, learn more music theory, organize your samples better, really refine that process. That's going to be a huge thing to just... Next up, learn music business, learn how to, like, the business side of things, the marketing side of things. These are two very important areas. Don't just fucking think you're like, I'm a music producer, I'm going to make good music, then I'll get a manager, because that's not just going to happen. Like, maybe with 0.001% that's going to happen, but mostly it's not going to happen. Next up, learn to market yourself. Don't just learn how to just put music out on Facebook or whatever and you're like, here's my thing. You need to learn how to present that in a way that will connect with people and that will engage them to click on your content. That's very hard to do, but start learning it now so that in like 2 or 3 years, you'll be like, oh shit, I'm so glad I learned that 2 or 3 years ago, because it's really helping out now. Another thing is start spending the time to, like I said, to build databases and network. So that is just like reverse engineering who are the important players that you want to kind of fuck with, and then also like blogs, labels, channels. Start building a database of all their contact information. Start searching for them on a like weekly basis and just adding to that every week, because that's going to be huge. That's going to be a really big thing to getting you further in your career. And the last thing is just really try to have fun with this shit, because and that's a really cliche one. Just have fun making music, because I get super stressed out all the time. I'm like, this is my career, I want to fucking do this, I want to just be amazing at this, I want to share my value with the world, I want to support myself, all this kind of stuff that stresses me out. But at the end of the day, it's just fucking music. And I really have to train myself to think about that. It's just fucking music. Like, I'm not saving lives or anything like that. I'm not like curing cancer or some shit. I'm just like trying to make people a little bit happier every day with some music that I make, some bleeps and bloops that I fuck around with on my computer. Like, who am I kidding here? But like, but I do love doing these things. That's a really good, just a way to kind of look at these things. Like in reality, like also we're just these fucking weird little apes on planet Earth trying to shoot like white stuff at like fucking girls all the time. Like that's just a hilarious concept in itself. So just really reflecting back on that, and yeah, just kind of thinking about that this shit isn't that serious. Don't take it too seriously. Just have fun and making it. That's super cliche, and I'd probably be like, fuck you, Tom, if I watched this when I was really stressed out, but right now I'm not that stressed out, so hell yeah. It's my birthday. So I hope you got something from that. This video went longer than I expected. Who knows if anybody will watch it, but here it is. And yeah, back next week I'll have some awesome stuff regarding like Spotify playlists and reference tracks and some other good stuff I can't really remember right now. Also, I have my Smell the Roses mix that came out last week. It's a super duper chill mix. Definitely check it out. It's the pretty side of the brand. I really want to just make a really nice chill mix of all the chill music that I love, just for after the holidays, so you can kind of get your year started nice. So hell yeah, I'm Thomas Anthony from Fancy FOXX Music. Keep it fancy. Peace.
What do you want to do, huh? What do you want to do?